first off, when we hear about you, we all see the commercial, and I just want to know why the commercial. Is there a big is there a big problem that you're hearing that people are coming to you about when you see these to influence you to make that?
Well, initially the commercials were to bring awareness, and once we got awareness of chiropractic, of your right to get treated and not to worry about out-of-pocket expenses, the commercials, first off, for the victim, they said, okay, if I go to the doctor, I have to have a lot of money to see the doctor, the orthopedist, the chiropractor, what have you. So if I don't have $500 or $1,000, I can't go get treatment. So the insurance company knows that, and when it happens with the insurance company, they are able to settle the case for pennies on the dollar. So they like the fact that you don't know, and they're not going to do anything to tell you. And on the doctor's side, the doctors that don't extend credit has no vested interest to let you know. So since we're doing something new in the community, if you will, we're making sure that you are the person treated the best. That's my main philosophy. At the end of the day, before I came to the area, there are doctors who bills for $10,000, $20,000, even chiropractors, and when a case settled for $15,000, say, the lawyer would take a third or 50% or whatever the lawyer takes, and the doctor would take what was left, and you still owe the doctor $5,000. So it was like you're a victim in the accident. Now you're a victim because you made $15,000 settlement, but you owe $5,000 at the end of the day. So that should never happen. My philosophy is that you've already been a victim once. So if my bills are $10,000 and the case settles for $15,000, I'm going to negotiate on that $10,000 to make sure you're going to have monies for future pain and suffering, for future treatments. Because you're the victim, you're going to have treatments. You can come to see me free of charge later if you choose to, or you may want to go to another doctor. You may not like me and say, I don't want to go back to Dr. Gordon. I want to take the money I made and pay to go see some other doctor. Or you keep that money in your pocket and come see us after the settlement. So everything we do is about lifting the person up. And that's really, when we look at the politics, the political career, and the chiropractic career, that's what we're all about, lifting up the patient. So initially the commercials were for that. But now the commercials have to dispel the myths. So you have a lawyer on somewhere say, well, the insurance companies don't pay Dr. Gordon. So now we create a notebook for the clinic that we show where we have checks and checks and checks from all the major insurance carriers. Then they say, well, they make up some other lie about chiropractic and settling and whatnot. So we got to constantly be on the offense, dispelling the myths, because folks do lie to try to make it to where, our community, working class community, black, white, pink, or red, I guess we get caught up in the grind that you see that there's a young lady from Bowler Battery, European American. She went to one of the lawyers on TV. She got charged about half her money for fees. Well, any lawyer that we recommend, we make sure that they understand that the patient is primary. The patient has to be, you can get over on us or mess over the patient one time, but not referring, my was referring to you is not going to happen if you take advantage of my patients, if you take advantage of my community. So my community is the Mobile community, the Alabama community, the Florida community, the Mississippi community. I got patients coming from Mississippi, Florida, and all of Alabama, so that's my community. It's my working class community. So if I see a lawyer who's taking advantage of them, then I'll try not to refer to that lawyer. I can't effectively market against them because it's different professions. But I can say, hey, be careful of the suits. I wear a suit on TV. These other guys wear a suit on TV. Be careful of the suits so that you don't get the short end of the stick. Don't be made a victim twice. And we got to start. We do that in the personal injury cases, and we do it in politics. We are constantly victimizing politics because we'll vote for that person with the slick ad. And I'm sure that the folks in Mobile tag office are great people, but you have one person who's well qualified, most experienced. You have another person come up with a fancy slogan. Well, the fancy slogan always win in the white and black community who's working class, because we don't have time, or we don't take the time. I tell people all the time, I'm busy, you're busy, but we make time for what's important. Okay, my father's up in age, so if I got to go see him, if I got to drive up to Georgia to see him and drive back and come to work right then after 10 hours, 12 hours on the road and 2 hours visiting him, then that's what I got to do. even if I get 1 hour sleep, 2 hours sleep, no sleep. It's not about that. It's not about being comfortable. At some point, you got to have what's important has got to take precedent, and that's what's missing in our community. So we tend to we want comfort. I want you to bring to me why I should vote for you. And if I see, okay, you and see Miss Carol here, I want to say Jamal, and see Carol, and you both are beautiful, you both are educated. Say you're a journalism major, and you're not a journalism major.
No.
Okay. So if it's a journalist position, she have a slick slogan, and people would not know who to vote for. Because they say, well, they both look good, they both look presentable, they both look professional. Well, and then they'll start saying, well, who did I go to high school with? Or who did my cousin, friend, somebody knows, instead of them taking 5 minutes to research or ask that person a question. You know, you got to do that part. It's because it's your future. If it's a journalism position, if Ms. Carol gets it, she's not the, she's going to be learning the job as she's on the job, and whoever is her backer is going to be controlling her on the job because she knows nothing about the job. You're the journalist.
That's right.
You would know that you know that you know, and if I come in there and try to pull you sideways, you'd be like, well, no, that's against the journalist rules. Or, that's what we're up against, and that's why we keep getting bad law, and that's why we keep getting problems in our communities, the working class communities, because we have good slogan candidates that get elected. So it's our fault for electing them. We get the kind of representation that we deserve because we fail to read and research and put the person in office that's going to best serve the community, regardless of what the community is. Did I answer the question?
Yes, sir. That
Yeah.
answered pretty
About
well.
5 of them.
Since the airing of the commercial, have you noticed kind of a greater influx of patients coming in? You said you have a community in Florida and Mississippi. Did the commercial kind of help that out, or did you already have people coming in from Florida and Mississippi?
I was unknown in Mobile, Alabama when I moved here. I was at a function with Hank Aaron's birthday party, one of them at the Hank Stadium, and Andy Young was there. He spoke. He said that the great people are made by the love and support of community. So love and support, see, community puts you in a position. But for community, you wouldn't be there. That's why we have movie stars. That's why we have business stars. That's why we have local celebrities. Is because of the community. So all of my success I owe to my creative marketing. I did the hand cut homemade postcards initially, and that got the momentum started. Once we made a little money from the hand cut postcards, we went to the commercials, and that's another reason I try to get you can say hand cut postcard sounds hokey, but when you think about your mail, you get all this nice slick finished stuff that comes through the mail, and it sort of just, your mind just sort of closes down on it. But then this hand cut thing looked like a third grader put out this, it's like some art that your child made.
Right.
That's almost ready to go in the refrigerator. I got to keep that. Somebody put a little effort. So I think that's what happens in the back of our minds. And I noticed my sign. I had people want to gift me a new sign. And so I said, no. I said, I remember po folks, and I look at the leaders. I look at the McDonald's, the Walmarts, and the Coca-Colas, and I try to emulate them. I, like Carol, have no experience, no professional training in marketing, but if I pay attention to the leaders and do what they do, then I can probably get some of the same results they get. I may have it may cost me a little more money to get there, but but I can. It's cheaper for me to do it because they got guys studying the areas and this, that, and the other. So I'm benefiting off of McDonald's studies. I'm benefiting off of Walmart studies when I do some of the marketing that they do. So the commercials are the reason that we are as large as we are, as successful as we are, and the love of community, good service, and being sincere with the community, being fair to the community, not taking advantage of the community, is the reason we continue to grow. That's why we get repeat business, because people that go to another facility, be it chiropractic, physical therapy, orthopedics, whatever, and when all the dust settles, and they come to us, and all the dust settles, and they got the same settlement, they're going to say, well, Dr. Gordon bent over backwards to make sure that I was treated fairly, whereas the other guys were saying, well, I got a business to run. If I charge you $1, I can have $1. I understand that the insurance company only gave you 80 cents. I need that other 20 cents. That's some of the other philosophies, and that's why they stagnate, and that's why we're able to maintain, even in a recession where the market crashed in '09 with the real estate and all, even through the hurricanes, we're able to maintain. We have our same challenges. We have to pull back some, but we're able to sustain a base of patients, loyal base of patients, and we got like third generation patients. When my mother came to you, my grandmother or grandfather came to you, and then people do drive from Florida to see us, and it's like, I appreciate you driving past 10 other chiropractors to see me, because it says a lot. Well, it says a lot about us. It really says that. It says that, and I don't get the big head and think that, that I'm the greatest. It's just saying that, I need to make sure I go to someone that I trust. That's what I look at the person is saying. I looked at you over the years, or my family member went to you, or my neighbor went to you, and they say I should go to you. And I know I got to drive past these 10 guys to get to you. The young lady that came to me from Theodore, from down by Bellingrove Gardens. But there's many chiropractors she has to pass to get to me, and she's of European descent, so I get black, white, pink, red, Asian, Middle Eastern, all religious, all because everybody's welcome. Make sure that you make mention of my interest strangers leave as friends, because I want to make sure everybody knows that regardless of what your religious vocation is or your religious beliefs, you should be able to come to a place where I respect you, you respect me, and at the end of the day, we can be friends and still have our same beliefs and not be a problem, because what you believe in doesn't affect me in my life at the end of the day. So that's the kind of office and environment we try to make. We want a 5-star service, like a Waldorf Astoria, and we want to have acceptance, where everybody is welcome. And we at the end of the day, I think all the clinics give you the chiropractic treatment or the orthopedic treatment that you go into the building for. But it's that other part that's big. It's a big difference. And you meet me on the street, you're gonna see the same personality. It frustrates me when patients, and when I was in politics, when people say, "Well, I met Mayor such and such, or I met Representative such and such, or I met Governor such and such," and in this certain room with a party and a fundraiser, they got this nice attitude, personality, but on the street, they act like they didn't want to speak. And you get the same thing with some professionals doing personal injury work. And that's what patients say, "Why are you taking your money to this person who won't speak to you unless you're taking the money?" You know what? That's the problem. And that's what we fail. We do that in the working class community far too many times. Far too many times.
How important is that relationship? That relationship between maybe the doctor and the patient, the client that comes in. How important is it to go beyond?
One reason I do we got the doctor title and the representative title, and we got honorary titles from Africa when we went over there, and we've been in many ceremonies and what have you. But one reason I don't use the title is I want to make people know that it is about relationships. It's about a business relationship with the community. It's James Gordon. It's not that one title does not define who I am. I'm a child of God. I'm a servant to God. So if I'm serving Christ and doing what I'm supposed to do, then my light should shine by my actions, and that's what it's about. That's at the end of the day. So when you look at these businesses in the community, first of all, you look at our community, you say, okay, black, white, pink, or red, whatever the community is, say, are there any needs? When I look at the Theodore community, when I look at the Chickasaw community, when I look at the Mobile community, be it Pritchard or Tomanville, or the Mobile County, I'm thinking City of Mobile or the County of Mobile, and whatever community you're in, there are needs. If you look around, you see abundance of business. Well, why aren't the business supporting the community? Your job is not just to take money from the community, not just to provide a service, but if you're a Christian, if you're a Muslim, if you're Hebrew, whatever you may be, I'm sure your book charges you with love and service. And why can't we see that? That's why we should be, it's like the prayer said, in heaven as it is on earth. It doesn't say in heaven, heaven should be better than earth. It says in heaven as it is on earth. So you got to get earth right first before you get to the other level. So if we're doing our part, regardless of your vocation, then what a beautiful place to be. Think about it. If you see the Christians out here, and not speak from a Christian standpoint, because that's all I know that one well. That's my charge. Then and my choice. Then I'm supposed to love my neighbor. There's even passages in the Bible that tells me I got to love the illegal alien, that's here. It says the Bible doesn't speak about how they got here. It says if you got a foreigner in your land, you're supposed to love them, you're supposed to serve them, love them, give to them, and we do that with our laws. Our law says if you have a legal alien gets into an accident, if I hit them with my car, I can't say, well, you shouldn't be here anyway, you're illegal. The fact is, if they're here and I hit them with my car, the laws protect them. They're protected like our citizens, that they have rights also as a victim of an accident case. Now they may have problems with the government, but no one checks on that at this level. This level is about treating the patient, getting them better. The insurance company, the lawyers that get involved, it's not about the INS and all that with this level. But many times you hear our community would say, our community would put forth your attitudes and personalities, why people are here, or this, that, and the other, and it's like, is that your Christian side of you? Asking these questions or pushing this person back. So to get back to your question, is if I'm showing love by I make a dollar, but if I spend 20 cents or 50 cents back in the community, then that's that Christian side, that's that servant side. If you multiply that by all the businesses, you don't need to give as much because everybody's giving it, so you got an abundance of love out there. That's what we're looking for.
But a lot of people don't know the real Dr. Gordon.
Yes.
So who is Dr. Gordon? Not the chiropractor, Dr. Gordon, the one that...
James Gordon.
Who is James Gordon?
Well, James Gordon is, what we do for the community is, it's really, as a marketer, you try to let people know what you do for the community. But as a child of God, you try to just do for the community, so you don't really, you're not really trying to brag or anything, and that's really a happy balance. And I do horribly at that, I might add, because people they don't realize. But the James Gordon doctor, representative, what have you, as a, we fight for, if City of Pritchard says, okay, look, I got this law that I need passed to help the City of Pritchard do what have yous. So you have the representative and senators who are in the office. Since I'm a former representative, I have access to the members. I have access to I can go to the floor. I can't lobby a bill on the floor of the legislature, be at the center of the House, but I can go to a person that's hard to catch and say, Senator or Representative, may I see you at such and such time or a later date, or can I call your secretary to see you? So I really have no problem. If I call the secretary and whatnot, or the senator, I have many of the senators and representatives' cell phone number. I can call them and say, if you got a few minutes, I'd like to speak to you. I can go up there and speak to them on behalf of chiropractors, on behalf of the community, on behalf of the City of Pritchard, and I can work as a lobbyist per se, but I'm not a lobbyist, so I don't have to go through all those guidelines. I don't get paid for this service. This is totally give back. So I drive up to Montgomery. I talk to these guys and lobby the position of the city without any compensation. And it's similar to being in office. When I was in office, I sacrificed $500,000 for a $50,000 expense account. So many people thought the $50,000 expense account was a reason to go to Montgomery. But if you're away from your business and sacrificing $500,000, and I lost a hard $500,000 a year. So I didn't lose a estimated or imaginary amount. This was a hard loss every year. And this is why I can't serve unless I'm financially stable enough to have, you really need to have the money made and on the side, because you can't serve two masters. And if you take that position and you put all your all into serving the community and the state, and it becomes a state as a community, because you have thousands of civic organizations and hundreds of professional organizations and board offices and whatnot, and many times they call you for your ear. I'm on a boards and commission committee, so that's like 200 boards and commissions, boards with cosmetology and chiropractic and this and that and the other. So everybody wants to have a different law for their organization. Everybody wants to know if there's something to be modified in the organization. So these things you're charged with reading. So I got 2,000 bills coming down the pike every year, potential bills. Probably about 3,000 potential bills, about 2,000 that makes it out, or actually becomes a bill, or actually processed, and about maybe 200 or 300 that becomes law. So that lets you know how the streamline works, and it's a great system, but someone has to read all that stuff, and that someone is me. There's no secretary. You have 10 secretaries for 105 members of the representatives, so there's no secretary you have personally that can read this. If you're a senator, you have your personal secretary, a personal assistant. And I only think, I'm not sure if they give a personal assistant, they may have to share. But now I think they may, some of them seem to have a personal assistant. It seemed like I seen somewhere, one person served 2 senators. So the state does a good job of trying to cut costs on that. But in a perfect society, you would have an assistant with a professional, and that would help that person to coordinate the schedule and whatnot. We don't have that. So when you get an assistant as a representative, you pay for it yourself. If you're not in position with the funds to pay for it yourself, then you don't have it, then your community goes like it. But James Gordon, the person, we fish give out since 2008. Once a month we do, and it was once a week at one point, 1,000 pounds of fish weekly. Then it went to 2 weeks, and then it's monthly, first Thursday of the month. We've been doing this since November '08, since the oil spill in 2010. We missed about 2 or 3 months of that, but we've been pretty much consistent the whole time. So that's, and I really don't promote that so much as a Dr. Gordon issue, because as I'm the distributor, the Alabama Seafood Association is the one who you have to really appreciate and rally behind if they ever need us as a community, be it whatever race we are, because these are the guys who's putting well over 1 million pounds of fish into the working class community, black and white. We try to make sure we distribute it across race lines and whatnot to those who are in need. But this fish has been a great blessing to the community, and 1,000 pounds, and you look at a million pounds of fish. If it's $1 a pound, it's $1 million. If it's that same fish sells for about $4 or $5 a pound in Montgomery, so now you're talking $5 million. That fish plant could easily take that fish and ship it to Montgomery for sale, but they donate it to the community. 1,000 pounds a month. That's unheard of. But we are just the distributors. We're like, we spend, a couple of hundred in our efforts, but we don't say, well, we spend $200 and say, look at what we're giving away.
That's right.
But it's the Alabama Seafood Association who want to lift up for that. When we kind of training want to do their baseball, get their baseball program going back about 2009, I believe it was. We set aside a few thousand, 10, 20,000, so to help them get the ball rolling. They've since got someone who's doing some of the underground plumbing work. I think they're resurfacing some of the piping and whatnot. They're not putting a new pipeline down. They're restoring or replacing the old pipeline, and that message never came out in the media that it's a replacement, not necessarily a new pipeline. But as a result, they're actually getting some benefit from that big company to help buy some of the other equipment or get their field in order for baseball, so they can bring it back to the community. My efforts and the late Bill Clark, who passed recently, his efforts along with Cleon Jones, and who's a Miracle Mets, 1968, I believe, Miracle Mets. These guys pushed out the ball started. I assisted back in '09, but now that this dream realized here in 2015, now they got all the resources together and other financing came in place to make things happen. So there's a lot of work going on, and I look at the people like the Robert Battles and the Cleon Jones and Bill Clarks who do more. Judge Thomas was another good one. He do all these, they run around, do all this effort and all these benefits, and they try to make things happen for the community. Personal beliefs or problems aside, these are people in the community that try to lift up the community. And I just basically try to, I think they're being, trying to be givers in their efforts, regardless of what their religious beliefs are. And I try to come in. Henry Haseeb does that with the accounting. He helps out a lot of people past that, dealing with other issues in life. And you don't have time to reflect on it or think about it. Like Carl said, well, really, who is James Gordon? When you just going out trying to give and help what you can, you see a person on the floor there, you help them up. You see a person you help cross the street, you go help that person. You see somebody that need help cutting grass, you get out there and you push the lawnmower, or you sweep the floor, or you wash the dishes if that's where you need it. So you plug in where you need to plug in. that donate the clothes, the school drives.
Yes, that's
We
what
try
I was
to,
gonna
we
say.
do try to give a lot to the kids. I didn't have the benefit of being able to move around during the course of a day, so sometimes I can find out sales where other people may not find out about them. So I'll go and, if I can, try to buy an abundance of uniforms or whatnot. I give them to a local church and let them distribute them during back to school time, or however they want to give them out to the delegates or what have you, to their delegation and to the congregation.
So why do you help? Why do you help the kids? Why?
Well, the kids are, I think, I really, when I meet it seems like I help more of the kids, I guess, because of we plug into the schools and do a program. I see when I co-authored a little pamphlet that says Seeds of Life or something like that. It tells kids that you plant this seed over here, it's gonna grow. So if you're planting a bad seed or a negative seed, it's probably gonna grow that. If you plant a positive seed, that'll grow. And if you try to plant more positive seeds than negative seeds, you get more positive results. That was the gist of the book. But I think it seems like you have more kids, mostly because they need the most help. That's the biggest area of, when we look at our school system success rate, many times it's not so much the school as parental involvement, and the school boards need to try to make sure, and it's not necessarily the local school boards, you got the state school board, you got the national school board. The national school board put down a policy, and they're sending some